how can we leverage AI to set appointments for our high ticket sales? How do we use both voice and conversations to basically drive pipeline value without the need of humans?
The AI told her to pull over. If she wants the deal, she pulled over, pulled out her credit card, found the text message, paid on the spot. Closed. $2,000.
91% open that DM, 75% are clicking on the actual step. So they're starting that process.
The way that it's structured is modeling at the most fundamental level a sales cycle or a sales conversation. And the AI is built that way. We gave it the tonality and the persona. Blunt, masculine, succinct, logic-based Australian. We throw in emojis, we throw in typos and uncapitalized sentences because it's the informal nature that makes it sound like him.
Now that you guys showed all of this, it's like, wow, okay, this is how this actually works, and look at the results. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Funnel Vision Show. I am your host, Mikael, founder and CEO of Funnelytics. As you know, with these latest episodes, we've been doing something very different. We're not just kind of interviewing and having high-level conversations about marketing tactics and all that. We're actually diving deep into actual marketing strategies, marketing tactics that work. We're unveiling the numbers behind them. We're mapping them out. We're sharing our screen and actually showing you exactly how these systems work. And today is no different because we're going to dive into something that is taking the world by storm, which is AI. We're going to dive into how can we leverage AI to set appointments for our high ticket sales? How do we use both voice and conversations to basically drive pipeline value without the need of humans? And in this particular case study, in this particular breakdown, we're going to talk about a very specific high ticket coach who's making about $20,000 or so per month, really struggling, had 2 manual setters in his business, wasn't really able to use paid ads to make that work. It wasn't profitable. He really wasn't growing. And then these 2 guys that I have with me decided to come in, implement their system, and basically flipped everything around. Generated 200 calls in 2 months, all 100% using AI, no humans required. It's pretty damn cool. And we're going to break it all down. We've got Joshua Collier and we have Kevin Jacobson Jr. here. We're all hat bros, I guess, today. We're all just wearing hats. And guys, welcome. I'm very excited to dive into this. What's going on?
Not much, man. Thank you for having us. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to having this conversation. So what I like to do first and foremost with every guest is I like them to introduce themselves. And the way that I want you to introduce yourself to the audience is, what is your not so humble bragging rights? So basically, I want you to go and list off, like, what have you been able to achieve for yourself, for your clients? I'll do both of you separately, but just give us the highlights. We'll talk about the war stories later. For now, just give us all the highlights. So Josh, I'll start with you.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate that. Thanks for having us on. Yeah, our podcast, we cover the war stories. So that's, I guess we'll just start there. Kevin and I, aside from running this business together, we have a combined 32 years of sales experience. I got started in sales when I was 18. Fast forward, exited the financial industry, failed my Series 7 3 times in a row, which is the best thing that ever happened to me. And then I got to meet Kevin managing a sales team. Long story short, we've kind of pioneered an industry, which was sales AI. It was conversion optimized. So we brought our sales experience background to that and kind of led the first integration between voice AI and chat AI inside of GHL. And something that the world had never seen before, the 2 systems handing off to each other seamlessly. That's one thing. It was really cool. We've worked with over 150 different businesses and over 100 different industries building custom sales AI for them. And we've generated our clients millions of dollars, tens of thousands of appointments using those systems. And we run a podcast together, like I mentioned, where we get to talk to really awesome people at high levels and grow our network that way. That's a few off the top of my head. Kevin, I'll pass it to you now.
I'm a little more braggadocious. Joshua's humble.
Yeah,
there you go.
So I don't know, man. We just we kind of spearheaded this thing. I had the accidental blessing of losing an e-commerce business that was in the top 1% of all Shopify stores in the world for traffic. That was like the peak of my entrepreneurial journey pre-COVID. My grandmother went into the hospital. I spent like 2 months in the hospital with her, trying to save her. She's still alive, so I'm grateful. I could build another business clearly, but I couldn't build another grandmother. So after losing everything and having to go back to sales in the interim of my wife being pregnant with twins and COVID and all that good stuff, I had the accidental blessing of working for Matt Decino at HL Pro Tools and ZappyChat back in like 2022. Working there for about a year and having calls on my calendar every single day with no setters, with like a Google dialogue flow. This was not AI yet, but it was like a robust system that we didn't need setters. And I was like, this is insane. And so I took what I learned there and brought it with me to the 2 Comma Club award-winning coaching company that Joshua and I met at. Basically, that's where this business was birthed from. We quickly realized that although this system worked well for businesses like plumbers, like people have a need right away and they'll book an appointment. When it comes to something high ticket or coaching based and things like that, there's a lot more sales nuance involved, right? So we spent 10 months becoming accidental experts at this system. And then AI came on the scene and we were already a year ahead of everyone. And then we started to support that ZappyChat community. So we got to get 3 calls a week for a year and a half working with GHL agency owners, 10, 15 agency owners per call. So we got so many reps, so much experience in such a short amount of time that made us just a complete blue ocean in comparison to anyone else that was trying to attempt this. And so that's what, got us our first 150 clients, all custom built solutions. Like Joshua mentioned, we made millions of dollars for our clients, booked tens of thousands of appointments. We were actually consulting and a part of the support for the AI employee launch. Sean Clark handpicked us to be a part of that launch for GHL. I mean, here we are now. Tons of client results and a second business in its infancy as well.
Let's stay deep into this AI world. In the simplest layman's terms here, what are you guys doing?
The very simple difference is 2 things, right? Tech people build tech that works. Salespeople build tech that converts. So we are building an actual sales team, right? The sales psychology and the things that go into setting for an offer that isn't something that is just selling itself, like I mentioned, like plumbing. That is something that you're actively pursuing because your toilet is overflowing, right? Anything else that is actually like, especially high ticket, that requires an actual sales cycle, nurture, qualification, overcoming objections, even pre-call booking. That's what we're doing. If you have a sales team with like 6 setters and 2 closers, we implement a system like this. Now you can take your bottom 2 setters, get rid of them, take the middle performing setters, have them monitor this AI system. And now you can 10x the amount of conversations that can go through your pipeline without expanding your team, and take those other top 2 setters and start training them up for a closer position because that's what they want anyway. And now you're able to scale your business without more people.
If I'm understanding correctly, we are basically taking AI on both voice and conversation, meaning kind of chat-based text messages, and we are replacing humans with basically AI conversations.
Yep, for the most part. And we like to say giving humans more leverage. That's why the company is called Levrg. A standard setter can maybe handle 100 to 200 conversations a day. And even that is a bandwidth issue, right? You're not doing quality work. Yep. Now you can monitor the chat. That setter can monitor the chat, and you can do 1,000 conversations a day with more consistency, more quality, higher conversions.
Wow. Okay. Obviously, this is something that is totally game changing. We're going to dive into the mechanics of it. We're going to do a screen share. I want to see exactly how it works. From the skeptical people out there, especially on the conversation side, like the voice side, I mean, how good is it? Like, does it sound like I'm speaking to AI? How good is it on that front?
2 things with that. We're all about transparency. If you can get away with anything, if you have a good enough reason, just like people got used to IVRs and things like that, people are already getting used to hopping on with AI. So if you position it as concierge, like this is a triage call to ensure that we can help, and then hand it off, do a warm handoff to a rep, or book the appointment, as long as the client feels that this is enhancing their experience with your business, not being pushed off to an AI because you don't have time for them, or, whatever the case may be, then it works extremely well. It's all about like I said, you can get away with anything if you had a good enough reason, right? And so as long as it feels like it's to their benefit, and the voice AI, we've used every voice AI you can think of. Our partners now have one of the best that we've heard. It's actually closing deals, which is insane. The other day, like, this offer is only good over the phone. This woman pulled over. She's like, I'm driving. And the AI told her to pull over. If she wants the deal, she pulled over, pulled out her credit card, found the text message, like, paid on the spot, closed $2,000. Wow.
Yeah, we got a text from our client in the Slack channel. She was like, Ellie closed the deal. Oh my gosh. And we were just like, that is awesome. We didn't expect it.
That is pretty damn awesome. This is revolutionary, right? Like, obviously everybody can do this. Like, you guys are first movers and you guys have your expertise and all that stuff. But ultimately any business can start to implement this. This isn't a incremental improvement. This is a step function improvement in your business. You're basically removing time constraints with humans. They have a bad day today. They have a good day today. You're removing basically their salary. And now you're replacing it with AI to set up the closers better. And we're starting to even see that, give it another year, the voice side is going to get really good and it's going to basically start taking over some of the closers. Yep. It's pretty crazy to think about. So before we dive into the actual system, where do you guys see this going? Like, you guys are implementing this right now and you have the results. Like, where's the vision in this world? Like, are we getting rid of salespeople?
No, we're giving salespeople more leverage. I'm telling you, one vision that I see in the very near future is Meta is collecting all this data for ads. Mm-hmm. What if you had a video, like you hop on Zoom with an AI avatar that is 98% probability to close you based on all the data that Meta has on you, right? It's a woman of your particular liking of hair color and all these things, right? The type of buyer you are. Are you impulsive? Are you a logical buyer? Or are you an emotional buyer? Like, all this data. And now you have a 98, 99% probability score of this AI avatar hopping on with you and closing you.
Yeah. So where does the salesperson fit into that equation?
The salesperson becomes like the sales manager. Like, this is leverage, right? And so now the salesperson's expertise, they're the ones training and monitoring these conversations, and it gives them more leverage. So now, instead of 10 conversations a day, they can have 100, and their commission may be smaller, but they're making more money in the same amount of time, if not less time.
I see that, but then what we're basically saying is, and again, I'm excited. Like, we're going to share screen and we're going to dive into the system, and I want to understand the numbers and all this stuff. But what I'm saying here is, like, I'm sorry, salespeople are gone. Like, you don't need an actual salesperson managing every AI. You need one person, one manager who is your typical sales manager. Mm-hmm. Instead of managing humans, they're managing the AI chats and the AI
Get better
bots.
at sales then. This is natural selection.
There's also going to be, we've seen similar adoptions of technology, not at this scale. People will always have this tendency. Some people will just not want to buy from an AI. So, there's that aspect of things as well.
Like you said, that's going to change.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to get to a stage where, a lot of people were skeptical about using ChatGPT 2 years ago. And now my mom's using it, like, when you start using it, you're like, yo, this is better than.
Yeah. What I think is going to happen is, I think that in-person sales is going to make it resurface. Yeah. And that's where I started with sitting down at kitchen tables with families. This young face, 18 years old, sitting down across the kitchen table with a mom and a dad with kids, talking about their financial future. Like,
it's funny, by the way, for those listening on audio, Joshua looks like he's maybe 20. So even though he's got all this experience, he went from 18 to 20 with 20 years of experience. Okay, so let's dive into this a little bit more. And I know now we're kind of getting off topic here because it's very interesting to see where is this world going to go. But I want to see behind the scenes. So let's do a screen share, Joshua, and let's dissect what this does. Like, I want you to walk me through the mechanics of this for this one use case of this
fitness coach,
this $20,000 fitness guy.
Yep. I'm going to put a frame around this before I share screen. Okay. So there's going to be 3 apps that I share. And there's going to be some of your listeners that are going to be like, how do we get access to the actual AI software? We have codes, stuff that you can use to get discounts and get hooked up with the team. I'm just putting that out up front. We can link it in the bio and whatever. We'll make sure that your audience has all the resources that they need. But the 3 apps that we're using, just so I can be fully transparent and not even have to worry about gatekeeping anything, because, we don't want to. We want to pull back the curtain and show people what is actually converting. So we're using ManyChat at the top of funnel. We're using GHL as the operating system on the back end. And then we're using something called Charlie AI, which our good friend Iggy Odigizua is the founder of. And so that's the AI element. I'll go ahead and share screen now that we have the frame established.
And context-wise, the reason for so many people are familiar with ManyChat. Maybe they're like, why can't we just use ManyChat? What is the difference between what you're doing and just having a ManyChat flow? And the difference is this is a true AI, and ManyChat is basically just the bridge, because ManyChat was one of the early adopters. And if anybody is familiar with how Meta handles their API has been closed off for a very long time. They stopped letting anyone get access to their API. So some companies like ManyChat are grandfathered in, so you have to use them as a bridge for things like this.
So let's dissect this.
Man. So I don't know if anybody's ever seen a ManyChat flow before, but this is what one looks like. It's a simple workflow with branches based on conditions. I'll zoom in here. We have when user sends a message or comments on our post or a reel as the main trigger, right? So you've seen posts that go out, there'll be a lead magnet, it'll be a 2-step call to action post. It'll say, comment blueprint, comment summer, comment dialed or shred or something like that. And it's typically associated with some kind of theme or lead magnet, right? Everybody sees those. And that's, this is the thing that, like, once you comment, that's what triggers the automation to then send a DM on Instagram. So no matter what comment comes through, it adds the tag.
Your top of funnel hand raiser.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
And so we add a tag for all the leads that come through here. Then we basically have the first disposition, but it's just segmenting the leads based on who they are, what they're looking for, what their goals are. So, we have the main ones here for a fitness coach: muscle gain, fat, weight loss, energy increase, that kind of stuff. And then it branches off based on there. So I'm not going to go through every single one of these messages, but
as you can see there, you got the click through rate. You can track all this stuff through ManyChat, and then even after the fact, once it hands off to the AI.
Yeah. So basically, right now they're asking one of 3. If anybody's just listening to the audio, I strongly recommend you go to the YouTube and watch this on video, because we kind of break it down. But basically, you got kind of somebody opts in by commenting on a post. They get this message which asks them, 3 questions. Do you want to gain muscle? Do you want to lose fat? Or do you want to increase energy? And what's impressive is the stat here, right? 91% open that DM, 76%, almost 75% are clicking on the actual step. So they're starting that process.
Yeah,
conversions. Then based on that,
are incredible.
One of the answers triggers another answer, right? It basically triggers the next.
Correct. So based on their answer to the first qualifying question, it then goes in to say, all right, great. Then what is the major thing that you need help with right now? And then it does the same thing again. But every time that they give an answer, we're updating a custom field so their sales team can go into the CRM and see what the answers to their questions were, so that they can be prepared for the sales call. All the custom fields are being updated. So it basically branches off 3 ways, and then it closes the branch. And it all comes back to another main point here with an age qualifier, because clients' major thing that they noticed was the majority of their leads that were disqualified were under the age of 21. After we identify their goals, it closes the branch back down to this one single message. Before the AI was installed, there was just a bridge message here that said, we'll get back to you basically when I'm online.
Which was like terrorizing conversions.
Totally. So basically that last question, they either get qualified or disqualified. And now we're basically saying in the very last step, these messages are automated, but I'll touch base with you as soon as I'm online next.
Yep. So this is the part where we're having like 90% conversion on opt-in, but he was still struggling to, make a few sales every month. with two setters in the DM. And this is where ManyChat fell off. He had to turn off the ads because he was like, this is working, but once it gets to this point, it's dead and I'm bleeding.
Yeah, because you have to wait for the setter to come in and engage.
Yep.
And it's limited. I mean,
so now what happens?
So what happens is we send what's called a webhook. And for people that are not tech savvy and don't know what a webhook is, it's basically just packaging up all the data from one application and firing it into a new application. We do that here. And so we configure the webhook and everything. It's all packaged in a URL. And so that just fires over to GoHighLevel. So that's the end of the ManyChat flow. And this is the second workflow that runs the process. And it starts, you'll see here the trigger for this workflow is the inbound webhook from ManyChat. And so you'll see here, it's really cool because all of this information is stored inside this URL, right? So all of everything that happened in this conversation or this ManyChat flow comes in. It's called a payload. The payload has my Instagram handle, what my goals were, what my biggest struggles were, my height and my weight, all the stuff that I need to pass off into the AI. From there, we find the contact, which is just making sure that all of the data that comes from ManyChat is referenced properly inside of the CRM, GoHighLevel, so that we're assigning that data appropriately. So we go through a couple layers of finding the contact just to make sure we have the right contact. And then we update all these contact fields. So these are all the questions that are asked from the ManyChat flow, but we're mapping them inside of GHL from the webhook.
So basically, we're just storing all the data into the CRM.
That's right. Yep. And then we update the custom values, all that good stuff, wait 2 minutes. And then we fire off all this data into the Charlie use case. There's more supporting workflows inside of the CRM I won't go into. There's several things, that's what we build all the supporting workflows custom to each client. But that's the primary one that is.
But this is the basics.
Yeah, this is the major one.
So then we go and send this to Charlie, which is the last tool here. And this is where your AI setters and AI voice start.
Yep. Yeah, this is our partner, Charlie AI. Like we mentioned, Igio Digizua is the owner and founder. We have a direct relationship with these guys. We've been working with them for a long time. We've vetted a lot of AI solutions. There's a lot of options out there. And ultimately, what we've found is our best partners on the chat and voice side of things has always come down to tech people build tech that works, salespeople build tech that converts. So once we found somebody that had a 2 TEDx award and he switched out of the fitness industry coaching and went into the AI space, we're like, oh my God, finally somebody that has built something foundationally from a sales conversion mechanism perspective rather than just a functionality developer standpoint.
So let's walk through what happens here.
All right. I do want to just, again, set a frame around Charlie. From a fundamental perspective, it doesn't have to use a CRM. It can. It fully integrates with GHL, which is the CRM. So we can pass data back and forth. But you don't have to have a CRM, which is really cool. It's called CRM agnostic. That's a really neat part in case somebody doesn't, if they don't even want to have the AI in their CRM, they can just run it right from here.
Just a side note, we got a lot of people who use Shopify, sell products. I know that it's not high ticket, but technically, could that work with lower ticket like HubSpot as a platform? Does that matter? I'm just trying to get a sense of the context here because obviously on the front end, we generated leads through people commenting on DMs. We could also generate leads, I assume, through lead forms on Facebook or whatever. Oh, yeah. And obviously this is setting, but what about like e-com?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as I mentioned before, I had a Shopify store for 3 years. I was driving hundreds of thousands of visitors to my website. I would have probably made 50 times more revenue if I had something like this back then. And it was all organic Instagram.
Imagine I'm an e-com store. I have a lot of traffic going to my website from ads. We have a pop-up on there that collects emails for some sort of downloadable. So we're still generating leads, or even like a little chat widget in the bottom. But now all of a sudden you
can have a personal shopper AI that can walk you through the sales process.
That is pretty sweet.
Back in the day, one of my first sales jobs was working at a Verizon store, and some of the sales reps in the store, you'd come in and they'd just be like, hey, and they'd just stand there and wait for you to approach them. Me, I was hungry. Ended up being the top sales rep in all of Southern New England. Why? Because as soon as people came in, I greeted them. It was a personal funnel, not a website, right? Like that's the in-person version of like a sales rep just standing there and being like, hey, let me know if you need any help. That's a website. A funnel was me walking up and walking you through the sales process. That's the real life version, right? And so that's exactly what this could be on your Shopify store, an AI that can be your personal shopper when you walk into a Louis Vuitton store and they give you a glass of champagne and they walk you through your sale.
Wow. Okay. This is really cool. Let's dive into like, what does this actually look like?
Okay, so I'm going to try to keep it high level, but still be thorough. Okay, this is actual like where we configure the AI setter itself.
So this AI's name is Kyle.
Yes. Yep. So
by the way, I want to put a little context onto this too. This guy he's in Australia. And so like the slang and like is totally different than what most of us are used to. And this AI took on his entire personality to a T, which is insanely impressive.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the way that it's structured is modeling at the most fundamental level a sales cycle or a sales conversation. And the AI is built that way. So like you think about it, you have your intro messages that you send to your leads. You qualify them with questions, you give them a call to action, and you follow up until they accept that call to action. So this is how the AI is built in the actual brain and the engine of the AI on the back end. We train it like you would a salesperson because, as Kevin said a couple times, tech people works, but tech built by salespeople converts. So this tech was built by salespeople, so it was structured accordingly. So that's what's really cool. That's why we love this platform so much. And that's why it's working so great. We assign the intro messages. We put in the chat questions. And so he has the intro message and then he asks, I'm just going to use the tab up here. So he asks this question, which is, do you have a specific goal or weight and focus in mind?
Where are these messages happening?
Yeah, they're happening in Instagram.
Okay, so it's going back to the Instagram.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the user experience is there's no fall off. There's no transition. They don't know they're going from talking to ManyChat to talking to the AI. It is a smooth transition.
In other words, they're still on Instagram. How quickly, because it said like at the last message, we'll shoot you a note when we're back online. When does this one fire? Is it like pretty instant or?
Yeah, 2-minute delay.
Okay, so you wait about 2 minutes and then you go and throw people in.
Exactly.
There. So is his name Kyle? Like is the owner Kyle? Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is basically Kyle AI.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so we don't mention that we're AI. We don't kind of
not in this specific use case. No,
primarily because it's chat and it's dialed in like crazy. It's now if somebody asks if this is AI, we don't lie.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to break trust with the prospects, so we're always honest.
Okay, so basically we start with the intro.
Yep, and then we give the AI an objective and instructions, and we're able to do some pretty cool things like split the messages up. Do typos, emojis. You can see over here on the right-hand side. Let me zoom in a little bit. We gave it the tonality and the persona of, you see auto split messages there, just to toggle the button. Blunt, masculine, succinct, logic-based Australian. So there's drop-down menus for each one: informal, friendly, professional, authoritative, feminine, neutral, masculine, logic-based, emotional, and then Australian, British, and American. And so we throw in emojis, we throw in typos and uncapitalized sentences because it's the informal nature that makes it sound like him. Then we just add in business information and all this other good stuff, where we want them to book, the calendar, custom values that we pull in from the ManyChat, the schedule it should run on, and then the follow-ups timing. So we can set the timing of the follow-ups right here inside of Charlie, you see? So 1 hour, 3 hours, 1 day, all the way down. And so that's it on the settings configuration side of things. We paste in the steps from the settings script. You know, if you're running any setting teams, you probably have a setting script. So we just fashion that around the AI. We plug it into these fields here, and then we massage it, we test it, we go back and forth to make sure it's sounding correctly. Just coming back here to the qualification questions, there's one point I want to make here. Each segment, like an intro, qualification, call to action, they each are structured with an objective, an example, and instructions to make sure that AI has enough context on each step to know how to adapt the conversation. He asks 5 questions, ending with the phone number. And then what's really cool with this is there's this little action button here. We can have conditions. So like if somebody says, or answers a question in a specific way, like I'll give you an example. One of the questions that he asks is basically, what do you do for work? Like I said earlier with the age qualifier, most of the disqualified leads that come on are under 21 years old. But the other major disqualifier is if they don't have a full-time income. And so this was insanely complicated how they used to do this. The setter would have to go and chat GPT what their job was.
Yeah.
And then they had to determine if they made over $60,000 AUD per year.
And let me put some owner or media buyer perspective around this. This allows you to get much cheaper leads, right? If you're running ads, you don't have to go so hyper targeted and put so much of this weight of qualification and tire kickers and people like.
Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible.
You can go super broad, cheap leads, but still dial them in so that your sales team is only talking to qualified people.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Condition that's met here is if the user states there's a student, apprentice in university attending school, no longer working, or anything similar that implies that they don't have a full-time job or regular source of income, we then branch off the lead. So I'll show you how that works. So it's basically just bring that lead into a different flow to further qualify them without interrupting the main flow. So that's an action. You can do it on a global level. So if at any point, at any time it happens, or if it's at a specific point in the conversation, then we're able to branch off those leads. So let me come back over here to our clients. So you drop down. So this is the branch here, and it's very simple. It's literally just one step. So if somebody says that they don't have a regular source of income or they're not full-time, what we want to do is determine their budget. It's okay if they don't have a full-time job or income as long as they can afford the program. And we ask a financial qualifying question, which is just basically, would you be able to afford $500 to get started if I could guarantee you results? Yeah. Right. So you see this little Q1 action, the condition is enabled for this step.
Oh, and for other clients, we do have a partnership with another company that actually at Opt-in does a soft credit pull and can financially qualify people on the front end. This particular client doesn't use that service as of right now, so that's what we do on this. But we have other clients that actually don't even need the financial qualifier. They can get that information on the front end and just not even have it, not even have those people go through.
Yep.
So let's move forward with like, okay, so now either they get branched off or they come in here. And I assume what's happening here is if they do get qualified and say yes, then they come back into the main branch.
Yes, exactly. So you see this, so the user responds affirmatively and can afford $500 to get started. We switch back to the main flow. At the next question, you see it has everything in line here where we left off. And then if it doesn't, then we send them a DQ message and then we give them a free course. And then tell them, because we're still going to retain that lead, right? And just in case their situation changes. That's the setter flow. There's a couple of other really cool things I want to hit on real fast if we have a minute.
Yeah, please.
So what's really powerful about this is the ability to train it and to track the performance metrics of it. How you train it and test it, you can test it right inside of the platform itself. So right here, you'll see your performance.
So are these all setters? Like these?
These are all clients.
Yep, these are different setters for different clients. Yep.
Oh, cool.
And so as you see, like no matter how many leads you're pulling in, they're disqualify, buy or die, right? There is not one lead slipping through the cracks, no matter what volume.
So full transparency.
Oh, I see.
Like Kevin was telling you, we've tried every AI platform out there. Whenever we reach a point with one where we either can't continue or it just becomes antiquated, we have problems with the support team, development. We did this with all of our clients recently. We migrated all of them over to Charlie. Full transparency. His original system was built on Closebot, which Closebot is a great platform. V2 just came out.
Yeah.
But the thing is, relationships are everything for us. And we have a super tight relationship with Iggy and the development team over at Charlie. that we just don't have with CloseBot. Okay, so here you can see this one has been live for like 2 weeks. Not a whole lot happening. 20 leads, 2 bookings, 10% lead to booking conversion. So Charlie will automatically do the conversion metrics and reporting for you on the dashboard. All you got to do is just select the setter, right? So you can see here.
What's the hunts? I saw that on the if you go back to like the Charlie or Kyle setup. What does hunts?
Hunts
mean?
is follow-ups. So I briefly touched on the timing aspect of the follow-ups, but basically here at the very bottom, I'll just switch to this tab. So you see here, we have the timings here, 1 hour, 3 hours, 1 day. And basically these are just the standard follow-up messages that we want, that Kyle has.
So I would view it like this. Hunts are not only follow-ups, but the ability to reoffer and reposition based on previous objections, right? And so one of the main strategies in sales when people don't buy is you want to have some sort of reoffer, some reason to re-engage them that actually overcomes their original reason not to buy and positions it in a way that like, hey, I know that money was tight back when we last spoke. We now have financing. Right? Like you want to come with a reoffer that actually makes the objection the reason to buy now. So that's one of the things that Hunts does.
So we schedule these in, or, we can also have it set up to where if we reach a specific point, if we head over here to integrations, you see the webhooks right here, we can show the credentials. At some point in the conversation, if we just want to fire it back into GHL, we can have a custom workflow kick in if it hits a specific point in the conversation. So there's a lot of different ways that you can configure this.
Yeah. So if a lead goes like 6 weeks without like their tire kicking or whatever, then we can just transition them into a long-term nurture sequence. You don't have to keep like banging on their DMs for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Does this work also via email or is this just chat?
Go ahead.
I'll show you. Essentially, anytime, I'll just show you inside of GHL, customer replied, add filter as reply channel. You can see here, call, chat widget, email, Facebook, GMB messaging, Instagram DM, live chat, SMS, WhatsApp, all the channels we can activate.
And same thing with Charlie. Charlie can be activated in any of those
exactly.
channels.
So what we do is this triggers the GHL workflow, but all we do is we pass it off into Charlie based on where the lead comes from.
Wow.
Charlie's going to do its thing regardless.
Interesting.
Yeah. So just because for the sake of time, I just wanted to show the performance dashboard and it has built-in reporting. So you don't ever have to ask, like you have to ask your setters to submit EOD forms. Not anymore. You can just pull the data from this. And then Playground is where you test the AI. So we've done plenty of tests with the Kyle AI.
And this is where the setter now becomes kind of like a sales manager, right? And so it's training this thing for conversion optimization, like based on the data. Now, instead of doing sales meetings where the sales manager is like reviewing sales calls and stuff, now the sales manager could just focus on the data and train the setters or train whoever's managing the AI on how to increase conversions day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out.
It's pretty sick.
Guys, this is impressive. This is really, really cool. It's really cool to see where tech is going, where AI is going. It's at another level and you guys are at the forefront of it. I want you guys to be able to kind of tell everybody where can they learn more about both of you? Where can they, if they want this system for themselves and they want you guys to implement it, what does that look like? Just where can they learn more?
Yep. We have special pricing with Charlie because of our relationship. So actually, if you go directly to Charlie, you'll actually pay more than if you go with us. So we'll drop a link to get you a special deal. We do custom build these on a daily basis for clients because obviously, as you can see, sales experience matters and there's a lot of technical aspects to this. So we've done hundreds of these and we'll continue to do them. So if you want us to do it for you, we're happy to do that. You can always book a call with us.
Where can they hit you? It's Levrg AI?
Yep. So you can book a call with us. We'll include the link. You can find us on Facebook, Kevin Jacobson Jr. on Facebook and Joshua Collier on Facebook.
Also Instagram, the Joshua Collier and KFAB100. Levrg.ai is our website.
Levrg is not
Levrg.
How do you spell leverage?
Levrg.ai.
Levrg.ai for anybody listening. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the transparency and unveiling the curtain. It opens up people's minds around like what is actually possible here. It's one thing to talk about it theoretically and in this kind of abstract way. Now that you guys showed all of this, it's like, wow, okay, this is how this actually works, and look at the results. And now I'm going to have to contact you guys in terms of how I'm going to implement this across my businesses.
Yeah.
So,
and everything from a solopreneur, this fitness coach on Instagram, all the way up to, I mean, we have a $150 million business lending company that's a client that we've implemented something similar, and it's made them, they had a 55-person sales team. They were going to hire 30 to 50 more people. We implemented this. A year later, they haven't hired one more sales rep, and they have increased their bottom line by a lot with this.
Wow. Okay. This is really, really cool, guys. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, man.
We'll catch you next time.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Appreciate you.
Cheers.